Kathleen Blake, and if I was to ask you what kind of a disability have I, what would you say I have? What category would you put me into? Physical disability. I'm actually a bilateral amputee, both legs having been amputated above the knees. The reason the above the knees bit is important is because I've lost my balance. Once you're above knee, you don't keep your balance. And so I would fall over on my face to start with. So this sitting up position here is a learned position. To move or whatever has to be learned from scratch, just like a baby would do it. I'm going to go back for a minute on the social and the medical model. And I'm going to read a little bit here, not too much, just to get it in context. The medical model of disability sees the disabled person as the problem. We are to be adapted to fit into the world as it is. If this is not possible, then we are shut away in some specialized institution or isolated at home, where only our most basic needs are met. The emphasis is on dependence, backed up by the stereotypes of disability that call forth pity, fear, and patronizing attitudes. Usually, the focus is on the impairment rather than the needs of the person. The professions, with their talk of cures, normalization, and science, often our lives are handed over to them, and that is the medical model. The social model, on the other hand. So the medical model would put me here in the room, and they would all debate, how could they fit me to get through the door? That would be the first and foremost. How would they fix me to get me through the door? The social model of disability, which I love, believes the cure to the problem of disability lies in the restructuring of society. Unlike medical-based cures, which focus on individuals and their impairment, this is an achievable goal and to the benefit of everyone. This approach, which I refer to as the social model of disability, suggests that disabled people's individual and collective disadvantage is due to a complex form of institutional discrimination as fundamental to our society as sexism, racism, or heterosexism. Prejudicial attitudes towards disabled people, and indeed against all minority groups, are not inherited. They are learned through contact with the prejudice and ignorance of others. Therefore, to challenge discrimination against disabled people, we must begin in our schools with the young people. Our fight for the inclusion of all children, however severely disabled, in one mainstream education system will not make sense unless the differences between the social and the medical or individual model of disability is understood. I like the social model. I have lived, once my legs were amputated in the year 2000, I've lived in both models. Initially, I lived in the medical model. Everybody told me what to do. Everybody made a decision for me. Everything was planned and charted. The one thing that didn't happen, nobody asked me what I wanted to do. Nobody. And I mean, they had the best of intentions then, and that was the way that hospitals and institutions were run. And then I come to the social model. The social model, if you put me here in the middle of the room, will say to everybody and to me, let's move a few chairs, let's move a few people. Then we can get Kathleen through the door. How easy is that? When I was in Cork and everything was charted and organised for me, I was nearly going out of my mind. I just wanted an input somewhere. And so there was no hope for me. They decided that they'd move me nearer home for the amount of time I had left to live. And so there was no place for me. I was too young for the elderly to be put with them, and I was too old for the young people to be put with them. I didn't fit any category. So here in Cashel, St. Patrick's, the assessment unit, they said they'd take me, and that was fine if I was willing to go. It was the first time Cashel said, they will take me if I was willing to go. So I thought, great, I will go there. Off I went. Yes, there were elderly, but that didn't mean I couldn't converse with elderly people. And once I went in the door, they said to me, I was probably 95% dead. There was probably 5% of me alive. And they said, we can work with you. Where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And I thought, wow, this is brilliant. And as you can see, I'm still alive. And that's the good thing. Once I got in there and they started to listen to what I wanted, things sort of progressed. In Cork, they said, well, we can give you prosthetic limbs. But really, they're only for cosmetic purposes. And I thought, right. Because you're an above-knee amputee, you don't have the balance to stand up. You don't even have the balance to sit up. You will never go home. You will be institutionalized for whatever time you have left. And I thought, institutionalization, that is not for me. And so I protested a little. Now, they were working in the best interests that they saw at the time for me. And I thought, well, I am getting well, I'm going home. But they all felt I was delusional and that this institution was the best thing for me. They actually made me feel guilty. You can't sit up. People will have to manage you. People will have to lift you from here to there. And I thought, can't I learn to do this? They said, no, it's not done before. People with prosthetic limbs above knee, they don't stand up on them. They just sit down and look pretty. And I thought, whoa. So I came into Cashel anyway, all that having been said to me. And I got a little better. And they said to me, what about the prostheses? Have you thought about the prostheses? And I said, yes, I have. I'd like them. So they furnished me with the prostheses anyway, and I got them. They said, had I a pair of shoes? And I said, yes, I had a lovely pair I had bought in America, and I really liked them. So I said, I'll get the family to bring them in. They fashioned the legs anyway, and I went in to get my prostheses. And I looked at them. Well, they were the nicest things that I ever saw. But I said, are they fully functioning legs? Like, are they just two straight things, or do they bend, or what's the story? Oh, they said, yeah. They're fully functional legs, they said. You have what was called then the ultimate knee. You're ahead of the posse. This is the new thing that's out. And I thought, great. But they said, really, we don't see too many chances for you to go on them, but we will help you all we can. So I was put between the parallel bars. Yes, I did stand up. I stood up in the beginning with help. I looked down at my trousers and my shoes, and just in that split second, my mind played tricks on me because I thought I hadn't lost my legs at all. I was just looking down at me. But when I wanted to take a step, then I went down. I sure hell knew that they were prosthetic limbs. So we worked, and they worked very hard with me in Cashel with the prosthetic limbs. They worked hard on balance and sitting up and transferring, which is going from this chair to the bed, this chair to the loo, practical things, and worked bit by bit, and I was getting a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger. Yes, the legs, I did walk on them through the parallel bars. Then I got adventurous outside the parallel bars, people holding on to me, or I had a rollator in front of me, do you know, the frame with the little wheels. And then eventually I myself at the moment am walking with crutches, unaided, outside in the grounds of St. Pat's. That's where I'm at today. So I'm very pleased. I probably will never be able to walk with them in the community, because maybe if somebody tips off me or runs at me, for instance, I may not be able to move out of the way quick enough. I'm working on it. It's a goal. It's down on my to-do list. So I'm getting there. So they're basically the medical and the social models. I then was well enough to come home. Whoa, yes. This is what I dreamed of, but the house wasn't suitable. My bedrooms were upstairs. The bathroom door was too narrow. I was to apply for social welfare, and this, I think, was the first time in my life I had applied for social welfare. That was grand. I think it was disability benefit at that stage. I applied and I got it, and then they said I should go before a medical officer. Yeah, medical officer. So I toddled off anyway to the medical officer, down to the social welfare offices in Clonmel, I might add. And the door for the medical officer was, the chairs in front of it were bolted to the door, with only persons stood up that could walk between them. So I arrived down and I couldn't get in with the wheelchair. There was no room. That was fine. The nurse said to me, well, you know, go home because you can't be seen. So that was fine. Went home. And then I got cut off. They wouldn't give me any money. The reason being is that I didn't see the social welfare officer. Got a letter a fortnight later to say, go down. So I went down. I said, I'm doing this business out in the social welfare floor. I don't care. Out they came. The doctor did come out to me and he had his chart. And he said, but I can't see you. And I said, why? He said, your name is not on the list today. So I was 9 months without money, but I did get it back. I did get it back later on.